Shalom, everyone, and welcome back. In this week's Torah portion, the portion of Emor, it implores the Kohanim, the priests, to make sure that they do not become Tameh in any way. What does it mean, Tameh? So in Judaism, we have a concept of Tuma and Tahara. Tuma means ritual purity, and Tuma is ritual impurity, and Tahara is ritual purity, to become Tameh or to become Tahor. And what does this mean? Sometimes it's translated as being clean or unclean, but that's not what it means. It means to be spiritually pure or spiritually impure. How does a person become spiritually impure? Well, by touching a dead body or coming in contact with the dead in some way, or certain diseases that you can come in contact with can cause you to become impure, or touching certain things that will cause you to be impure as well. Usually, tuma has to do with the dead, either coming in contact with the dead, or near the dead, or touching the dead, or touching someone who has touched the dead. Because touching the dead is a high level of impurity. It removes us from godliness. God wants us to be involved with life, not with death. And therefore, need to purify ourselves. How do we do that? By waiting a period of time and then being sprinkled with the ashes of the red heifer mixed with special water and going to the mikveh, and then we become ritually pure. Now the question is, why we have all these laws of purity and impurity? Doesn't the Torah have enough laws already? What we can't do on Shabbos, and kosher laws, and putting on tefillin every day, and praying every day, and it's wearing tzitzis and lighting Shabbos. So many laws we have. In addition to that, we also have laws of purity and impurity. It seems a little too much. A person could look at this and say, wow, Jewish people are so strict. They have so many laws. It's unbelievable. I tell people sometimes that we keep Sabbath more strictly than the Puritans did in olden days. And they can't believe it because the Puritans were known as so strict in their removal from physical things. I said, on the other hand, we begin the Shabbos with making Kiddush out of a full cup of wine. That's pretty powerful, pretty happy. So what are all these laws about, these rules of purity and impurity? Why are they necessary? So a mashal, a parable is given about a king who had a son, and he implores his son, and he tells his son, there are many things that you cannot do. You have to be very careful. After all, you are the prince of the kingdom, and soon you will be the king himself. You need to be careful about many, many things that you do. You can't just mingle with everybody else. You can't just eat whatever you want. You can't just wear whatever you want. You can't just marry whoever you want. You need to marry someone who is of royal lineage, just like you. You have to make sure that you serve as a very good example to the subjects of the kingdom. And there's a whole list of things that princes can and cannot do. The prince comes to the king and he says, "My father, don't you think this is excessive? This is just too much. Why do I have to do all these things? Everybody else doesn't have to do these things. Everybody else can marry whoever they want, do whatever they want. Why do I have to be so strict and have so many rules and regulations, things I can do and things I can't do? Why is it necessary?" So the king answers his son. He says, "My son, listen, you are not just an ordinary person. You are a prince, and you are chosen to be the prince of the kingdom, and therefore you need to set a very good example. People are going to look to you for as an example of how you should act and what you should do. A great deal, much more is expected of you because you are the prince." And the same thing is with the Jewish people. The Jewish people are a nation of priests, a mamlechus kohanim, the goy kadosh, and a holy nation. We are the nation that God chose to receive the Torah and to disseminate the laws and traditions and ethics of the Torah to the world. And therefore, God expects a lot more of us than everybody else. We are considered God's chosen people, God's nation of priests, and therefore God expects of us a lot more than he does of everyone else. That should be an important lesson for all of us as well. To be a Jew and to be chosen as a Jew is a tremendous merit. It's, as they say in Hebrew, it's a zechut. It's a merit to be a Jew and to be chosen as a Jew. We're very fortunate, and therefore we need to follow the 613 commandments and abide with them carefully and be truly a nation that is a good example. And as they say, or l'goyim, a light unto the nations. And indeed, in that doing, we will bring light to the entire world. I want to remind everyone that next Thursday is Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the County of the Omer, where we celebrate the birthday and the yahrzeit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar. And there are celebrations all over the world for Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the County of the Omer. Here in San Diego, we're going to be having a parade down Governor Drive at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, next Thursday. And we're going to have a band and all kinds of wonderful things. And then at 5 o'clock, we're having a barbecue and bonfire at La Jolla Shores, as we do every year. We'll be selling hot dogs and hamburgers, and we'll be playing music and telling stories. It should be a wonderful evening. That is next Thursday. 4 o'clock is the parade. 5 o'clock is the bonfire and the barbecue at La Jolla Shores, Kellogg Park. Look forward to seeing you then. Candle lighting in San Diego this Shabbos, Parshas Emor, is at 7:22. I want to wish you all a good Shabbos.